Hi. So today's day three, and it's improve. My days have been improving. Um, I just worked out just a bit. No, nothing that's spectacular, but still it's progress. And today I didn't do anything that I would be ashamed of. Um, but I also didn't do anything that would be considered, you know. Uh, Using my day effectively. Uh, I cooked and then I ate and then I had a food coma, slept. That's how my day went, I guess. I went to pay the power bill and that took around, I don't know, an hour and a half, I think. And getting back took about 30 to 45 minutes. Getting groceries, that took about, I don't know, 30 minutes. Cooking them took about 2 hours, I guess. Then eating, and then I slept, I don't know, for 4 or 5 hours. Uh, I just slept. It was a good sleep, I guess. And then when I woke up, I started getting leads, clients, no, not clients per se, but older leads from a website that I'm using to get clients. I've compiled around 450, no, actually, 680 something uh, number of people, but I had to check every single one of them if they are operational, if they have been, if they have, filed for bankruptcy or so on and so forth. So I think for most of them, I have found closely around 300 people. Yeah, 300 people. 150 have filed for bankruptcy or so on and so forth. They have closed their companies. So after filtering them out, I have not finished. I will finish maybe tomorrow morning. And today, I didn't do much. I watched some Big Bang Theory, read some manuals. Um, that's it. Yeah, it was so simple. And thanks to my friend that he sent me a video yesterday. Um, it was a video detailing how a person should act and that person should carry himself. And you know, it kind of clicked with me. It was 25 minutes. I listened to every single bit of that video, and then this morning after I woke up, I listened to it again because I needed to keep that mindset the whole day. And doing so l- for the whole day, I don't think, uh, um, for the whole day, I have not used any social media. I have used social media, but I have reduced the time so much that it didn't even register with me. I didn't respond to people. I didn't text. I just put my phone away and focused on my computer. I think wrote some things on my, yeah. I think as I've said before, yeah. I've wrote a couple of things here that would register, and I've been brainstorming other things that I can do other than the current idea, the current job, not job. Actually, it's a job with just the extra steps. I have to be there uh, from I think 7 in the morning Eastern time to until maybe 5 or maybe at 6. But it doesn't mean that I have to be there all the time. I can finish at most 2 hours in 2 hours. But if the day is, bad, or the market is bad, I have to stay there for the whole day, even clock in overtime. I know that's the price, but I still haven't got a client yet. But after I get a client, I think it would be much easier for me. But in a sense, I think what Alex Hermosi said is correct. For me to become rich, I need to be willing to embarrass myself, to be rejected, to be shamed by the people, the clients I am trying to work with. I'll currently, I will consistently hear no, get it, stop, take me off your list, and so on and so forth. But uh, I'm dedicated to give it one more try. Okay, one more month, which means the month of July would be my last month before I switch to something else fully. And I have this dream of not working, but to get there, not working meaning like not working all the time. Now I can dictate my own time, no? But to have that, and with the disadvantage I am currently at, being born in Africa, uh, heavily restricted, and a lot of regulations I have to bypass to be able to work in the U.S. market, or to have somebody in the U.S. that I can, that can help me, so on and so forth. But for me right now, I'm, trying to do everything by myself. So that's the only option I have. I have a brother in the US, but because he is having his own problems, his own struggles, so I don't want to bother anybody else. And as an adult, I'm a firm believer in asking for help, but not always. And people seem to always kind of uh, have their own problems. So when you ask for something and they don't give it to you, or they don't help, it sends you in this kind of um, hopelessness, where you thought you had somebody, but they couldn't do that, this or that for you. And um, that's basically it, I guess. Nothing more. When you want to bother somebody, it's like, ask yourself if they can actually handle it, if it's something they can, you know do for you without actually, inconveniencing themselves. And if not, try to ask, like, in a funny way, or try to ask in a kind of hypothetical way. But if they say, "Yeah, I could do that," that's no problem. Because for me, I kind of did that with my friend in Dubai, where when I asked him if I could, send the products to his house, and he can, uh, help me, deliver those stuff, get those stuffs to the people I that needed to be, uh, connected, I guess. And he said, okay, that's not a problem. So, asking is a good thing, but also inconveniencing someone, like, for example, for me to ask him to go to a place to buy some stuff, to ask, to bargain, and so on and so forth. That's a lot of thing to ask somebody. And kind of uh when you kind of ask someone, a similar question where they have to do a lot of things, they would do it, but at the cost of them not doing it again for you, or I don't know. But long story short, asking somebody, waiting for another person's to to do something for you is uh, either you pay somebody that can do it for you fast, but asking for a favor is, something I'm not comfortable with. I used to just kind of ask for people to do this and that, but after a while, it became tedious. Like, for example, I've asked three different people about bringing the stuff from Dubai here for me. And, all of them were willing at first. They were hyping, why didn't you ask me? When the time came, I said, okay, I'll ask these people because they said before that they're willing to help me. So I called the first person, which is a close friend of mine, and yeah, I'll ask that question for you. And then I waited the whole day. I kept calling, but nothing happened. And then finally, I called from, around 9 in the morning until around 10 at night. So, like not consistently, but, uh, with the certain gaps. So, uh, when I called at the last moment, I went into Snapchat and I saw a video that was sent to me by that person. They were, having a joyous occasion, drinking, and so on and so forth. My question was, to ask that person was with, uh, if they could bring the product, or if they, have somebody that they know, so on and so forth. But, you know, uh, it was so kind of demeaning. Me asking all day, and I wasn't the slightest bit of, but never mind that. And I stopped calling. I stopped asking and moved to the second person that said, I could bring you something like this. And it was a friend, a close friend, actually, like literally a person that we grew up together. We went to school together. We even, the person you grew up with. So asked that person. They didn't answer the call, and I just sent them a text message through Telegram, and then I waited the whole day. Nothing. And at around six ish, they called me and asked about this and that. Okay, I told them everything, and that he he said he would um ask around. Never heard a response. It's been 2 days, and there was one last person. It was my brother's friend that, comes and goes all the time, and we don't know each other that much. So he's not even asking me for money, and I'm supposed to pay them, both of them, those friends, money. This one, he didn't even ask. So he said, like, I can't bring all of it at once, but I can find you somebody. And he said, okay. And he went and asked around. He gave me a response, but the other two didn't. So long story short, I keep blabbering. But when you ask somebody, you know, instead of actually, don't go to close friends. It's, instead of having a bad reaction or bad blood between them, just go with somebody else. It's much easier. And that's it. Uh, I don't even remember how this thing started. So today was a good day. Did a lot of things, but yeah, as I've said, I'm gonna give myself one more month until the end of July before I stopped. I stopped, everything about this job, and go into something different. But if within that month I get a client, I get two clients maybe, I don't know, who knows? I'll start my other phases of plans. The reselling business will still go on. I will fund it until it's profitable. And what I've kind of discerned in kind of Africa, in Ethiopia, is that there's always a demand. I've heard it from this African person. I don't know where, but there's always demand. To make something work in Africa, you don't just start with a product or a service. You start with the system problem. There's always a system problem here. Because in Africa, Africa is not poor. It's poorly optimized. It's what he said, like quote for quote. It's poorly optimized. You need to fix, trust and convenience. Like for example, if you let's say have an idea for an Uber kind of thing here in Africa, you have to optimize it so that the driver feels safe driving that person around. Because here in Africa, because it's kind of there are shady areas, there are good areas, and it's actually all over the world, not just in Africa. So there are shady areas and there are good areas, and when that person is driving that person to their destination, they need to feel safe. And the same goes both ways, because the driver might be a shady person uh, that kind of has some issues or extorts money from the person that they're driving. So long story short, here lies that people want transportation easy, but they don't trust the driver, and the driver doesn't trust them. And if you as a person comes in and fixes this problem, you are free to do business in Africa area possible. Like for example, this woman just I think she came from Turkey or Dubai, I don't know, but she's Ethiopian. But she said that when a lot of uh, freight is coming from the countryside to the urban side, let's say for example carrots or onions or tomatoes, a lot of a lot of them are going to be wasted because of heat, because of transportation. And if you provide a facility where it's stored perfectly, it doesn't get molds, doesn't have those pesky gnats, the worms and so on and so forth. Like in America, if you go to a grocery store, you can see the products, they're clean. But here you have to clean them. You have to kind of uh, pick out this and that. And, if you structure it correctly and you store those products perfectly, there's you're gonna save a lot of products from being wasted because of heat damage, because of uh, when it's getting transported, it gets compacted, and a lot of the things get squeezed, so on and so forth. So convenience and trust, that's another thing, and this one is you know, providing something that people actually uh, need. um yeah, distribution and trust. So that's basically it. That's what I learned today. I didn't learn much, but still, from yesterday, today's progress is pretty good. And yeah, that's it. And uh, I don't know. A quote I read from Pinterest, I guess. So never see the whole staircase. Instead, 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 just take that one step forward, because you know, there's always another step. There's always a few more steps. But if you focus on that one, when you reach that one, you can see the other step and you can move forward from there. That's it. So, bye.